All right. Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix, pages 149 to 152. Finishing up the chapter of the hearing. I haven't got time to listen to house elves. Anyway, that's not the only. He blew up his aunt, for God's sake, Fudge shouted, banging his fist at the judge's bench and upsetting a bottle of ink. And you very kindly did not press charges on that occasion, accepting I presume that even the best wizards cannot control their emotions, said Dumbledore calmly, as Fudge attempted to scrub the ink off of his notes. And I haven't even started on what he gets up to at school. But the Ministry has no authority to punish Hogwarts students for misdemeanors at school. Harry's behavior there is not relevant to this inquiry, said Dumbledore, politely as ever, but now with a suggestion of coolness behind his words. Oh, said Fudge, not our business of what he does at school, huh? You think so? The Ministry does not have the power to expel Hogwarts students, Cornelius, as I reminded you the night the 2nd of August, said Dumbledore. Nor does it have the right to confiscate wands until charges have been successfully proven, again, as I reminded you the night of 2nd of August. In your admirable haste to ensure that law is upheld, you appear, inadvertently, I am sure, to have overlooked a few laws yourself. Laws can be changed, said Fudge savagely. Of course they can, said Dumbledore, inclining his head, and you certainly seem to be making many changes, Cornelius. Why, in the few short weeks since I was asked to leave the Wizengamot, it has already come to practice to hold full criminal trial to deal with the simple matter of underage magic. A few wizards above them shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Fudge turned a slightly deeper shade of puce. The toad-like witch on his right, however, merely gazed at Dumbledore, her face quite expressionless. As far as I'm aware, Dumbledore continued, there is no law yet in place to say this court's job is to punish Harry for every bit of magic he has ever performed. He has been charged with a specific offense and presented his defense. All he and I can do is now await your verdict. Dumbledore put his fingers together again and said no more. Fudge glared at him, evidently incensed. Harry glanced sideways at Dumbledore, seeking reassurance. He was not at all sure that Dumbledore was right in telling the Wizengamot, in effect, that it was about time to make the decision. However, again, Dumbledore seemed oblivious to Harry's attempt to catch his eye. He continued to look up at the benches where the entire Wizengamot had fallen into an urgent, whispered conversation. Harry looked at his feet. His heart, which seemed to have swollen to an unnatural size, was thumping loudly under his ribs. He hadn't expected the hearing to last longer than this. He was not sure that he had made a good impression. He had not really said very much. He ought to have explained more fully about the Dementors, about how he had fallen over, about how both he and Dudley had nearly been kissed. Twice he looked up at Fudge and opened his mouth to speak, but his swollen heart now constricting his air passages, and both times he merely took a deep breath and looked back at his shoes. Then the whispering stopped. Harry wanted to look up at the judges, but found that it was really much, much easier to keep examining his shoelaces. Those in favor of clearing the accused of all charges, said Madame Bone's booming voice. Harry's head jerked upwards. There were hands in the air, many of them, more than half. Breathing very fast, he tried to count. But before he could finish, Madame Bones had said, and those in favor of conviction. Fudge raised his hand, and so did half a dozen others, including the witch on his right and the heavily mustached wizard and the frizzy-haired witch in the second row. Fudge glanced around at them, looking as though there was something large stuck in his throat, then lowered his own hand. He took 2 deep breaths, then said, in a voice distorted by suppressed rage, very well, cleared of all charges. Excellent, said Dumbledore briskly, springing to his feet and pulling out his wand, causing the 2 chintz armchairs to vanish. Well, I must be getting along. Good day to you all. And without looking once at Harry, he swept away from the dungeon.